The next step to do with this is to smooth it and crease it and add a little bit of detail. And since it's already UV'd, this is the time to do it because the UVs will stay. If you start doing a bunch of detail to the model, and if it's a 5,000 triangle model, it's much easier to UV map than if it's a 20,000 triangle model. It's just 4 times more pieces to worry about, right? And there's a lot of lines in there, and this becomes, if you go to the UV editing, this, if you multiply this times 4 in terms of the number of lines and number of vertices and UVs to deal with, it could get really cumbersome. And so it's good to have that discipline to have a good low poly mesh before you engage in that. So for this model, we want to subdivide, smooth it. So first off, let's go ahead and do the crease tool. So if I go and smooth it, you'll see it rounds off a lot of the edges, especially at the cuffs. So we're going to use this tool up here, mesh and crease tool, and there's a smooth setting for it right there, which actually doesn't do anything. So middle mouse drag to increase the crease value. So if you pick where you want it to not round off so much, right? So the cuff is the first easy one to really see. So if I double click this edge, middle mouse drag, you'll see it keeps the crease for me. Such an awesome tool. You go all the way to the edge, you can leave it a little rounded, back off a tiny bit. The crease underneath it is still this one before it is still coming out way out here, right? So double click that. And this one I want to middle mouse drag all the way to the right. So that way, even though it's smoothing, it's keeping that hard edge. And look at the lighting on this. So if I go out of the tool for a moment and turn off my crease, you see I get a nice crisp crease on there. Oh, the crease tool. So let's go get the inside of the cuff. Middle mouse drag. This tool stays active. Double click the outer. Middle mouse drag stays active. And if we want to round those off so they're not perfectly held up, you could just kind of pull it back a little bit. Same thing on the inside. We could pull it back. Want to keep it rounded. And a lot of times we have to kind of gauge what that's going to look like over there. And there you go. Now it's really catching the light. In the viewport render, if I go render viewport, open this up, we want to see a little bit of the shadow along these edges. One area that I recommend maybe turn on is the ambient space, screen space ambient occlusion, excuse me. And you could have the amount set here, how much ambient occlusion you want to show, and you see the little shadows appearing. That will start to make your detail pop in the viewport just a little bit. Close that. And we'll continue. So we'll go the inside of the cuff. So right now it's kind of curving inward like that. I think I would leave that, but you could double click that. And since it has a 3-spoke, it's one of those quad extrusions that we do a lot of. It's there you go. Has a 3-spoke. So you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 times. The double click doesn't work as well. But now if I click outside of that and go back to object mode, click off. Remember, Alt-5 on the keyboard will hide your wireframe on solid. There you go. You can see that is pretty well. But I don't need a crease on the inside of the cuff, right? That's just, we don't need that. So just get those 8 edges and then middle mouse drag, reactivate the crease tool. So go back to crease tool and then just mouse drag all the way to the left will undo it, and to the right we'll tighten it all the way. And we'll just let that round itself out as the arm kind of pokes through a sleeve. Let's go down here, double click, right drag all the way to the right, double click, right drag just about right there, double click. And this should work well with the UVs, and go the inside the same, mouse drag, maybe leave a tiny curve on that, double click, back it off just so it's not super tight. Up to you. Go underneath the robe here, go back to it goes up here, double click this edge all the way around, smooth again, and maybe keep that a little tighter as well. Your call, whatever works for you. In this case, go to the cowl, and this is a quad extrusion, so you have 5-star intersections where it comes out, so you got to make sure it goes all the way around. Middle mouse drag, want that nice and tight. Go to the outer part here, double click, mouse drag all the way out. Double click on the inside, middle mouse drag all the way tight. And then this one here, this one's up to you. Again, maybe I want it, don't want it at all. Don't need any creases anywhere else around there. You could do a crease around the top of the eye, something like that. But the medallion, this one I would definitely crease that edge there, double click that edge on the inside for that little lip on the coin, double click this part here, go back to low poly with one, double click, smooth, right click, and bring that out. And there you go. And so now you get a nice smoothing result, but still keep the edges. Pretty awesome. So that's how, and this is if you wanted to animate this in Maya, you still have the low poly cage there, and you haven't actually smoothed the character yet. But if you want to, now you can smooth it when you animate it, and it'll have this beautiful rounded off detail for the character. And that's what they do, I think, for most animated films. So let's see what happens when we actually smooth it to load it into Unreal Engine and to Mixamo.